You are listening to From Ring to Veil.
I'm Shannon.
And I'm Kim.
And we are your wedding planning gurus.
We take the stress out
and put the fun back into wedding planning.
Wedding Venues in Western Montana, episode number 139.
So this is the very last show with Kate for now. I'm sure you'll be back.
I hope so.
So we thought while we had her here, she does a whole lot of weddings in Montana. Let's do a show on Montana venues. Come on. Why not?
Yes. And there's some gorgeous ones in Montana. So it was really hard to narrow down this list of 10 places that I would even consider getting married again if Josh and I ever renew our vows. So
that's really awesome.
Yeah, these are some amazing spaces, and some of them are even what I would consider hidden gems. So,
yay! Yeah, we include 2 venues that you wouldn't know of otherwise.
Yes,
unless somebody had the ins.
Yeah.
So just a short little update on Shannon. She has her house. She has moved into her house. She finally got her furniture yesterday. She is setting up house, and we are set to record next week's show very soon. So Shannon will be back. Yay!
Yeah, we've missed you, Shannon.
Too bad she couldn't be on these with us, but you know how it works.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so let's get to this. So our first one that we have down here is Skyridge Ranch.
So this is actually kind of a hidden gem in and of itself because it's not necessarily newer to the wedding scene, but it's less known.
Okay.
So this venue is in Ronan, Montana. And I actually just recently did a wedding there, and it is absolutely stunning. We walked in, and actually, we'll start at the beginning of driving down the driveway when I made Josh stop so I could take a cell phone photo and brag to everybody that this is where I was shooting today. So as you pull in, the driveway's pretty long, and you're actually like, oh my gosh, am I in the right spot? And then as soon as you pull around the corner, you're like, wow, am I lucky? Mm-hmm. So because as you're pulling in the driveway, you see just this expanse of mountains. And then as you come through and you're kind of going through the parking area, you'll see this grove of trees on your right hand side, and then on your left there is a garden, and then there's again on the right hand side this beautiful pond with trees all around it and a gorgeous wooden windmill. It's just stunning. And then there's the actual event barn that's in front of you. And you walk in the barn, and it is incredibly spacious. It's just beautiful wood inside. I mean, it photographs just stunningly. And up on the top of the barn, it's actually all like windows all along before you hit the peak. And so the lighting is just amazing. And then off to your left is all the mountains, and then off to your right is where they stage like all the food prep and all that. And then there is a ceremony space down in the field off that way. And behind the field during the summer is like this gorgeous wildflowers and grass and like dandelions. And
I mean, yeah.
Wow.
Even just the pictures on their website. Yeah. Even the pictures on the website, just like, they're beautiful, but I can just imagine walking into it and being blown away.
Yeah, it's kind of overwhelming because your mind is going 100 miles an hour with all the opportunities.
Oh, yeah.
And then in the summer, the sun actually sets like on the side where the pond is, and you just get this gorgeous color.
Oh.
And so at first you think, okay, like this is the peak of what I'm going to get as the sun goes down behind the trees over there. Mm-hmm. If you wait like 30 more minutes, the entire sky just turns this incredible mix of colors, and they reflect off of the snow that's still on the mountains on the other side. So then your mountains turn like pinks and purples and oranges, and it's just,
That's, gives me goosebumps.
If I could shoot at this venue every month in the summer, I would so do it. It's just incredible.
That sounds incredible.
Yeah. And the venue owner is
gorgeous
too. And the venue owner is amazing.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So she's very helpful. She's full of information and just really appreciative, which is really nice. And so like she stepped up and like really helped our couple with a ton of stuff and made sure that the day was exactly as they wanted it to go. So it was I mean, it was just a beautiful venue.
Well, a couple of little things.
Yes.
The indoor space is 4,800 square feet.
Yes.
So that's, pretty good size right
And
there.
it was definitely. And I would highly recommend in this space, though, that you seat it like family style with the actual like long rectangular tables. It's not really built for round table space. And it looks so much nicer with the rectangular tables. And that's actually like what they have set up. When you go in there is you'll see like the rectangular tables are what fit best, just because it's such a long, thin barn. That's what is going to maximize that use of that 4,800 square feet. And the dance floor is actually outside on the patio.
Oh, fun.
So, yeah.
Yeah, then you just cool off while you're dancing.
Yes.
Nice.
Well, and it's all lit with like the string lights and the bar is right out there. And so, yeah, it's all set up perfectly. So,
Well, you guys know I love lights. So.
oh, yes.
They have on-site rentals, chairs, tables, dishes, things like that. So you wouldn't have to bring in too much in.
No.
It sounds like. There's also an all year round option.
There is, because that not only does this venue have the barn, but Skyridge actually has a second property. And unfortunately, for the life of me right now, I cannot remember the name of it. Hopefully by the time this goes live, I will have all that information sent off to Kim. But it has a second property just a little bit down the road, and it's their new wedding venue. And I've seen photos. I actually drove past the property the last time we were out there. It has a very similar view of the mountains, and the property itself is just incredible. So,
We'll
get all that info. Yes, Skyridge has a second property. So I'll get that information from the owner and get that off to you. So,
yay.
Yeah.
So we got our connections here.
Yes, we do.
Our next one is Kleffner Ranch?
Yes,
Am I saying that
Kleffner
right?
Ranch in Helena. Yep.
Helena.
Yep.
What, Helena.
So yeah, it's in Helena. And so this one actually used to be a functional cattle ranch. It is no longer. But this one's also
Barn.
Yeah.
But really cool barn.
Yes.
Like it's a big red barn, but it also has stone attachments to it. So it's very unique looking.
Yeah.
I love it.
And it's not like that obnoxious red. It's like that weathered red. So it's actually a lot more subtle than it sounds. And then like the inside of the barn is that really nice open wood with wood floors.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
So it is. It's really, really pretty. It's actually one of the most popular wedding places in Helena, because it's also one of the more elegant places to get married in Helena. So yeah, it's really nice. It's really pretty. It has a lot more seasonal options than just the summer season, which makes it nice. So
because it's all enclosed.
Yes,
you can do everything in there.
It's super important in Montana because it snows for most of the year.
That's right.
Yeah,
they do mention that you can seat 168 people.
Yep.
Guests, I guess you should say.
Yeah,
we should say. There's not a whole lot of information on their website, but you can definitely get a hold of them. And they're working on upgrades. So hopefully in the next few weeks or so, they'll have more pictures and stuff for you to look at online.
Yeah. And they do have a Facebook page, so feel free to check that out as well. Yes. But definitely, that's one that I would go and set an appointment to take a look at and see, especially if you do want more of an elegant barn wedding. That's a great option.
That's right. So we will have links to all of these places on the show notes. If you'll go to fromringtoveil.com/139, you will find them there, and you can just click and link to each one of these venues that we're talking about. All right, you say the next one.
All right, so the next one is Tizer Gardens, and that's in Townsend. So Townsend's not too far from Helena. And this is about 3.5 acres of really incredible private gardens, and it's nestled in the Elkhorn Mountains. So you kind of get the best of both worlds, because there's not a lot of garden space necessarily that is dedicated in Montana. And this will give you that gorgeous look. So
their website says Botanic Gardens and Arboretum. So
it is, yes. It's very, very pretty. And a lot of people just go there in general to visit. So to have your wedding there is kind of, it's really beautiful. They are a little bit different setup. So they're really only like a 3.5 hours for ceremony and photos, and so you have your reception actually hosted elsewhere.
Okay.
But there are a lot of different reception options in Montana. So this makes a really great start to give people an introduction, especially if they're coming from out of state, to the true beauty that Montana can hold. And this one can hold 20 people to 325 people. It's got 2 rustic cabins that are available for getting ready and all of that. And then you do have an attendant on hand to help with parking as well, which is great.
Yeah, which we've talked about.
Yeah.
Which is very important.
You really need that. And it's nice when the venue is providing that, because then they really understand like the rules and then know where you can park and all of that.
And it's really important, especially when you're at a garden, like an arboretum or a botanic garden, to park in the correct place, because you don't want to be ruining anything.
Exactly.
That just, is sad.
So there is a creek at this one as well. And this is also a seasonal venue. So again, this is summer. Summer in Montana, their wedding season is generally middle of June to like middle of September, because we all know it can snow in September in Montana. And so this one also, they do have several different ceremony sites. So this is again one that you would want to make sure you walk through before you book, and that you can kind of get an idea of where you would want to have your actual ceremony, because there's so many different spaces. But again, this is also outdoor wedding venue, hence why it's seasonal.
Exactly. All right, next one on our list is Reader's Alley, also in Helena.
Yes, I love Reader's Alley. I love it, love it, love it.
Okay.
So almost any time that I'm actually doing portraits in Montana, we make a stop at Reader's Alley. Because this is actually like one of the most historical spots in Helena itself. And there's a lot of different options. So Reader's Alley weddings and events are actually really cool. They have there's a pavilion, and it's at the front of the pavilion, you have 2 historic cabins that kind of become your backdrop. And then there's a big rock wall. And so you can actually, I've seen weddings face both directions. So one where the rock wall was the backdrop, and one where the actual historic cabins was the backdrop. But there's a couple of different ways that you can do it. They do have a getting ready space that you can rent, and that space is actually available for a lot more than just your wedding day. So if you decide to rent it for, say, your bridal shower or a bridal party or a bachelorette party, or they have a lot of different options.
Oh, that's cool.
It is really cool, because I've actually hosted hosted events in that space.
Oh.
And it's not only is it super affordable, but the fee helps keep up the historic parts of downtown Helena.
Right.
So that's part of why I really love this space too, is because you're giving back through your wedding. But it's just absolutely stunning. The light in there is amazing. You're surrounded by trees, and just all the history of what makes Helena amazing.
That's really cool to find a historic place, because a lot of times they don't want you to be in historic places.
Yep.
But it's really nice that this is opened up for people to actually have events and weddings. And
it's got a cool view too, because Mount Helena is right there behind the log cabins. And so it's like all the bonus best parts of Helena right in the same spot. So
that's really cool.
Yeah. And it just, from a photographer's standpoint, it photographs really well. And
A couple little tidbits here. The caretaker's lawn can seat 60 to 100 guests. They include 6-foot banquet tables and chairs. The pavilion can hold 20 to 30 guests, including the 6-foot banquet tables and chairs also.
Yes. Yep.
So whether you're having a small or medium-sized wedding, I would say, they can hold both of those. If you're having a huge wedding, I don't think this is the site for you.
And keep in mind, this is a very DIY site. So if you are going to be renting this space, it does not come with staff.
Right.
So you'll need to be providing all of that, hire a coordinator, things like that. So this is very much like you pick up the keys and then you return the keys.
Okay.
So, which makes it kind of nice, because you now are the one that truly gets to dictate how your day is going.
That's right.
So they will walk through all the rules with you, and it is very important, obviously, being a historical space, that you're respecting those rules and that you hire vendors that completely understand that as well.
That's right.
But yeah, it is just an absolutely amazing space. So, yeah.
Nice. And it's nice that you've actually done an event there. And so you totally understand how this is. So if you guys need any other
Tips
information,
and tricks and all that. So, and as of the recording, it's actually Anna that works in the office. So if you contact and you get some information, tell Anna that Kate said hi.
There's a place where you can go and rent not only dresses, but high-end designer dresses.
Dresses for any occasion, but specifically for your wedding.
From the shower to the reception for the bride, bridesmaids, and guests.
It's called Rent the Runway.
It's so easy. You just search for what you want, choose a size, plus you can get a backup size for free.
Add another style for just a little extra, then choose how quickly you need it. You can even get it overnighted.
And the returns are always free.
Go to fromringtoveil.com/runway. That's fromringtoveil.com/runway to sign up. The next one on our list.
All right. This one is Holland Lake Lodge, and this is in Condon, Montana. I love this venue. Like my eyes are closed. Yes, like as I'm like envisioning this venue. Oh my goodness. So this is if you have family members or say even yourself are doing a destination wedding in Montana where you're actually going to have like a decent number of guests and you really want that immersive Montana experience, Holland Lake Lodge is where you're going to go.
Okay.
Like it gives me the goosebumps just thinking about this place. It is so
like
stunning.
The epitome of Montana or what?
Oh yeah. Like this is the gourmet catering, you have access to all the lodge events, like it's a full functioning like lodge. I don't even know how to explain this with giving it the justice that it deserves. But this place is just amazing. So they have tables and chairs you can use, dishes, flutes, like they have a bonfire every night. Yeah, it's
a lodge.
Yeah, pretty much. And the best part about this is there's only a couple of venues that are on this list that have the weekend wedding experience mindset, and this is one of those. And
it's right on the lake.
Yes.
So you've got all the lake stuff too.
Yeah, and mountains, and yeah, it's really pretty. So. Awesome. Yeah. I feel like I'm totally not giving this venue the justice it deserves, but look this one up. Okay. This is a venue to consider.
Now, are any of your wedding pictures that you've taken out there?
Unfortunately, not yet. I know. I'm like, this is on my bucket list. Okay. Just know if you're going to book this venue, like you get a bucket list discount if you book me too. Okay. Like this is an amazing venue. So yeah.
It looks beautiful. Like just look through the pictures and you'll be like, yeah, this is gorgeous.
So
it looks beautiful.
Yeah. The next one up is Daly Mansion, and that's in Hamilton. And so a lot of these are actually closer to bigger cities than they sound. Okay. So Hamilton is not that far from Missoula. So a lot of my couples that book the Daly Mansion for just their ceremony will actually go and have their reception in Missoula elsewhere. But you can actually rent Daly for both the ceremony and reception. Right. They do have tenting available. They do obviously have some rules because Daly Mansion is actually a family's former mansion, and so it's a historical site.
Okay.
So there are a few things that they require. A lot of the times the mansion is still open for tours during your event. And so that's why they'll have a specific time that you can have your ceremony. So after all the tours have stopped going through, then you can usually have your ceremony. But the backside of the mansion, where a lot of the ceremonies are held on the grass, there's, again, the gorgeous Montana mountains that all of us love. And there's livestock in the background, which kind of makes it fun because it gives that true Montana experience. But the mansion itself looks like almost like a southern plantation.
Yeah, it does.
Because it's this beautiful white columned, very majestic feeling place.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And they even have like pathways that are all manicured and landscaped. I mean, it's just, the grounds are gorgeous. So
Yeah, it's beautiful.
And there's like a gate up front, and we always stop with our couples up at the top of the gate and kind of close it down and do a shot with them with the gate in the background. And so there's a lot of options. And it's even open in the fall for weddings, which is really nice because the grounds have the trees on them that the leaves are turning. Right?
So pretty.
I know. And it's, so there's like all these yellow and orange and red leaves all over the ground. And I mean, it's just, it's gorgeous. So, again, this is another one of my favorites.
And fall's coming, right?
It is, yes.
So you have the use of folding chairs and round tables and a few buffet tables for any of your weddings. You also have use over 40 acres of sweeping lawns and exceptional views of the Bitterroot Mountains.
Yes.
So I'm not really sure what the Bitterroot Mountains are, but I can just imagine they're pretty.
They are. And this is what makes the Montana mountains very different, because Montana mountains are multiple colors.
Cool.
So, we're here in Washington, we're used to mountains that are like mostly rock looking and
or green for trees.
Yeah. And so the mountains in Montana, because of all of the different elements and minerals that have been in the ground for so long, you get all these different tones in the mountains of Montana.
That's so cool.
And this, because it's a nice big flat space, when the sun does go down, it does reflect. And so that adds to the different tones, which makes the mountains something that are very desirable and just incredible.
That's really cool.
So, yeah.
That's very unique.
It is. And I have a feeling like the song that talks about the purple mountain majesty comes from Montana, because they do look purple in the evenings. And it's just incredible.
And it's big sky country, right?
It is.
So and this is kind of off topic, but when we moved here, we noticed we don't see the sky as much because of all the trees are so tall.
Yeah.
I mean, the sky's still there. You just can't see it. So when we went back to Texas, it's like, oh, wow, look at all this huge sky. It's probably a blend of both of that. So you've got trees, but you also have areas with big sky,
and
where you just see
mostly
everything.
Big sky. And a lot of people actually don't think that Montana has very many trees, which it does, thankfully. But it's just, when you look everywhere, it's nothing but amazing sky, which is incredible at night. Because while it's dark sky, it also means that it's then bright sky, because you have the illumination of all the stars, and you get that light quality that you don't get elsewhere. So it makes the nighttime photos and experience of a wedding in Montana very different than a lot of other places.
Yeah. So I think that would be gorgeous. So do you have photos that you can send to me so I can post with some of these?
Yes, I do.
Awesome.
Yeah. So I have several of them, actually.
Let's do that then.
All right. So our next up is the Ranch at Rock Creek. And this is the other venue on this list that has kind of that weekend wedding experience. So they are more of like a 3-day event.
Because they have a spa too.
They do. Yes. Yeah. It's kind of actually cool, because for most of the wedding packages, it'll actually come with a credit towards the spa for the two of you. And then this one is like, it's really cool.
I like that.
So this one's in Phillipsburg. And this one is like 10 square miles of just incredible ranch. They have wildflowers. They have a historic barn. They can hold up to 125 guests. And they're like fully inclusive.
Yes.
Which is nice, because a lot of places are not. Yeah.
Like they even have farm-to-table meals.
Yes.
Like we had a farm-to-table show. They have that.
Yes.
And then they have like great wines and beers, activities to do on the ranch. I mean, like you're saying, all-inclusive weekend. And what's really cool is at their website, they have a sample wedding itinerary. And they have day 1, which is Thursday, day 2, which is Friday, day 3, Saturday, day 4, Sunday. So it's like a 4-day thing. It's not just a 2-day weekend. It's a whole experience. It's really cool. And each day they have activities and things that for you to do. Awesome. Looks like awesome meals.
Yeah.
That's, to me, that's like worth it right
the food. Yeah, exactly. Well,
dancing, s'mores, bonfires again, it just...
Well, and that's the nice thing about a lot of these places in Montana is they realize that a lot of the people coming in are not necessarily in-staters. They are coming there to have their wedding in Montana for that experience. And I book a lot of weddings that they are coming from here or from California, and they are getting married in Montana.
Right.
And they are looking at these for the experience that all their guests are going to have, because it truly lets you get back to nature and just enjoy the beautiful world that we live in.
Right.
So that you can connect better with your guests. And this is one of those places.
I think that's what a wedding should be like.
Yes.
That is, if I were to do it all again, this is something that would really interest me, because yes, a Saturday wedding, people come in and then go to your reception, and that is great.
Yeah.
But man, this is like an event of a lifetime kind of thing. Like, it's like a joining together of families,
Yes,
and really experience. It's an experience.
Because that's how relationships are really built, is by experiencing things together. And this brings people together from both sides of the families and lets them learn about each other in more than just a couple of hours.
Right.
And that's part of why I love these full weekend wedding experience venues, because they do focus on that. They focus on the blending of a family.
Right.
Into one.
And it doesn't have to be 350 people.
No.
It could just be a very small, your side, his side, some friends that you guys share, and just,
Yep.
have just an experience.
Yeah. And if you invite just that handful core group to those 3 days, and then you give out the rest of the 150 invitations to just your ceremony and reception on the day of, have at it.
Yeah.
Nothing is saying that you can't do that with these venues.
Right.
But yeah, it just really makes it a lot less stressful too, because then you're not showing up, the morning of your event and trying to slam everything into one day. So
this makes it so much better.
Oh yeah, by far. All right. So, and then the next one on our list before we get into the two that are kind of more intimate is the Lodge at Whitefish Lake. So this is a resort. And they have just an incredible backdrop and options for weddings.
They have lots of options.
They do, yes. So you can get married right there on the lake. They do have year-round options. So you'll see on their website that a lot of people get married there in the snow, which is a great thing. So they have 3 different main things for weddings. There's the lakeside pavilion, there's the ballroom, and then there's the regatta. And it just kind of depends on really kind of what you're looking for experience-wise and how many guests you're going to have. So the pavilion holds 100. The ballroom can hold 300. And they do have the ability to do the grand ballroom for just your reception, or they can split the ballroom in half and do 1/2 ceremony, 1/2 reception. And then the regatta can hold up to 30 guests. So that one's more like the small, intimate wedding. Each of these packages, if you book in their summer, depending on the weather, you might actually get to do a champagne cruise on the lake.
Right.
So, which is pretty darn cool, I think. But
yeah, that's a fun thing to do.
Yeah.
I like that.
So,
and full service, like you said.
Yep. And it's really pretty. And again, this one also has a spa. So super cool.
Hello.
Can't beat that. But yeah, so those are kind of our major venues that I would choose as kind of my top 8 venues. But the last 2 on the list are for what I would call the intimate adventure wedding.
Okay.
So Glacier National Park, and I've done actually a couple of them here. They do have options if you decide to bring more guests, but of course, if you want it just the 2 of you and your witnesses, they have a ton of different hikes that you can do. There's a lot of officiants that will hike with you. There's just a lot of options. A lot of people get married at Lake McDonald. That's super popular. Obviously, it's the most iconic view in the park. There's Avalanche Lake, which is a little bit of a hike, but it just has stunning views, pretty calm waters up there, and so everything reflects down onto the lake. Super popular for morning elopements. But if you go with someone who's been to the park several times, they'll be able to show you the off the beaten path spots, which is really fun because there are hidden lakes. There are hidden hikes that have incredible wildflower views that are going to go off the beaten path.
Which is what you love to do.
It is, yes, yeah. And, you can apply for the permission to go even into backcountry. So it is important, though, if you are going to do a wedding in Glacier National Park, that one, you are well-versed on how to encounter wild animals.
Okay.
And that you have your vendor team that also can do the same.
Okay.
So especially if you're going to do an elopement at an odd hour, say a sunrise elopement, make sure that you have a vendor team and that you yourselves are well versed on how to deal with bears.
Okay.
Because that is kind of the time in which the wild animals are out and about, because there aren't a lot of people.
Yeah.
So,
that's part of the risk, right?
It
You're
is.
doing this
it's
really...
part of the adventure.
Yeah, the adventure.
Yes.
You're doing this off the beaten path, something very unique, something that most people don't do. So you got other obstacles to overcome.
Exactly. But keep in mind, too, because of where it is, like I said before, with that night sky that is all sky, it doesn't really ever get dark in Glacier National Park.
Okay.
So I have hiked at 3 o'clock in the morning and had it be bright enough that I didn't need a flashlight to hike the woods.
Nice.
But you do need bear spray,
right?
And you do need bear bells, and you need to be prepared that you know how to handle those things. And we have encountered animals on the trail.
Have you?
So just make sure, that's a side note, don't go up there as a greenie and not bring anyone with you who has any experience in that.
I cannot imagine.
It's so worth it. Oh my goodness. It's so worth it. So
I've seen some of your pictures, so
yeah, I love
know
it.
It's gorgeous. I know it's gorgeous.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. So, and then the last one on my list, and this is kind of, in my opinion, a hidden gem, because I talk to a lot of people who live in Bozeman that don't really know about this place, and it's called Hyalite Canyon. And so don't everybody go storm it because I've said it. But we did a newlywed session out there in August in the sunset, and we drove around throughout the park, and there are just some incredible spaces. So they do have like picnic shelters that you can rent out and things like that. They have kind of like a boat launch area where they have, free life vests and all. So it is kind of a family focused, like, adventure space.
Right.
But it's got some incredible spots that you could go and elope.
That's really cool.
So there are just some like amazing wildflower fields. There's creeks, there's ponds, there's like, the shot I'll probably send to you of this space is actually a pull off on a road that you kind of hike out a little bit, and then it looks like you're literally on a cliff.
Oh, wow.
But there's so many different options within Hyalite that it's kind of one of those spaces that if you want to really get out with nature and you just want it, you and your witnesses, this is the place to go. So
very cool.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for those hidden gems.
No problem. But yeah, that's one that, like, sunset is the time to go.
Right.
So,
which is cool with these because they're probably not going to be full of people.
Yes.
Like you're going to get your wedding
exactly
without other people running. Oh, excuse me. Whatever.
Yeah.
So, all right. Those are our 10 venues from Western Montana for you. Hopefully you guys can check some of those out. And if you are, you better hit Kate up.
Yes,
and
please.
Tell her you heard her talk about them on the podcast and mention the bucket list.
Yes, please do. And don't forget, like, I'll shoot there any time of year. So I actually used to live in Montana. So I am not afraid of any of this weather stuff. So, like, my latest one this year is in November. So
cool.
We're totally fine shooting any time of year over there.
And you go at least once a month over there, I think.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I'm actually there next week. So, yeah. But it's an absolutely amazing place to get married, even if you're not from there. So.
I want to visit there. I really do. I mean, it's just right down the road.
It is. It's not that long of a drive, which is what's shocking to most people. Are like, how do you do it? Mm-hmm. We usually do the drive in a day, and then we'll drive back like in a day. Mm-hmm. And it's only about 9 hours to Western Montana to most of these venues.
Okay.
So it's not that
from
big
our
of a
area.
drive from here in Seattle. Like, really, it's not that far. And flights are cheap and fast. So if you don't want to drive it, you can fly there and your guests can fly there for really inexpensive.
Man, I want to go there.
It's pretty incredible. And I highly recommend considering this for your wedding, even if you're just doing a destination. So,
well, thank you, Kate, so much for filling in for Shannon.
No problem.
And
it's good to be here.
I know you'll be back.
I hope so.
But if you guys have any questions, feel free to email us and we'll pass it on to Kate. Our email is info@fromringtovail.com. And of course, email us. We always like questions and comments and topics that we need to talk about. Subscribe to the podcast anywhere you listen to podcasts. Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher, YouTube. If you are on a podcast app and you don't find us, please let us know because we want to be there.
Yes. Until next time, no stress, no worries. Keep calm and listen on.
Thank you for listening to our podcast. You can find us on Facebook, From Ring to Veil, on Twitter, @From Ring to Veil, and on our website, FromRingToVeil.com.
Music provided by bensound.com.